The world of movies, to me, these days is run by franchises and sequels. You've got to be real careful when you revisit material that has been loved. Only do it if there's something new to be done with it.
On action, the beast comes forward. It's going to be on fire. Action!
When I first got the script, I was a little bit frightened, you know, because I was like, oh, this is a lot to live up to. The John Carpenter film just plays on some really deep fears, you know, that we have.
I never believed in this shit.
I always did.
I think that everyone involved in this is trying to make something great.
I'm going to take a tissue sample.
Do you really think that's a good idea?
I saw, JC's movie when I was 17. I snuck in, into the theater. It just basically blew me away. The whole sense of paranoia in that movie, the all-male cast, the sort of, the nihilistic feel of that movie.
John Carpenter considers it the best film he ever made. When I called him to tell him about this, his attitude was, hey, good luck, man. I mean, go make a winner.
My partner, Eric Newman, knew every single beat in the movie.
Now, how's this motherfucker wake up after thousands of years in the ice?
And there was this idea that he came up with, which is like, why don't we tell the story of what happened before we get to the dog?
We estimate it's been here approximately 100,000 years.
There was a level of reverse engineering so that it really did link to the Carpenter movie.
Thousands of years ago, it crashes, and this thing gets thrown out. We felt like detectives, basically. Like there's a crime scene, and what could have happened?
We had to approach it as a story by autopsy, in that we had relics from Carpenter's film that informed us of what had to have happened here at the Norwegian camp.
The first thing that we did is we looked at that set in the Carpenter movie, the ruined Norwegian camp, and we thought, okay, working backwards, how do we arrive at this freakish burned carcass of some half man, half monster, a fire axe in the wall, and a torched compound, a guy with his throat cut in a radio operator's chair.
What the hell happened here?
We had to try to explain how that ship was the way they found it, how it got buried, how it got uncovered. We came up with the idea that, well, they found this by accident.
McReady finds the ice block that the alien broke out of. We get to fill in the blanks of what happened there.
Matthias and I spent many an hour, pausing 16 minutes, 45 seconds. Okay, there's a fire axe in the door. How did that get there?
Just pure survival for Kate and Carter, and he needed an axe to just defend themselves.
Don't touch it.
The axe in the door. We had to decide, well, how tall is the actor when he walks by it? And we'll say he's about 5'9". Okay, so this is where it's gonna go in the door because it's got a match.
And over?
We could talk about it all day long, and we did. It was impossible for us to make this movie without acknowledging in a very real way the Carpenter movie. There's a very sad, sort of melancholy quality to this movie because you're watching ghosts, you're watching guys that, you know almost 100% all of the guys that you're watching in this film are gonna die.
I repeat, urgent, come in, over.
We've had stages on this film. I mean, we went to BC at first, and it was a big, wonderful nature hit with tough logistics. And then we went out to the camp where we shot outside for a month, and that was, had its own set of challenges.
We should burn them.
Peter! We're actually in a quarry in Toronto, which has been dressed up to look like the Norwegian base station.
I'm a Nigerian. I don't belong here, man. It was 3 or 4 in the morning, and it's freezing cold. And the good thing about it is you don't have to act cold. You are cold. I ain't built for this shit.
Then we shot on locations for a couple of weeks. And now here we are in the studio with creatures and spaceships and fire.
The one clear place where we felt we could depart from the Carpenter movie was casting.
We were committed, and our director was committed to the idea that we were going to actually have Norwegians in the movie.
Отче наш, že jesi na nebesiach, da sticia imя Tvoju.
And at first people thought we were joking and went, what? And the studio was like, Norwegians?
Blah, blah, blah.
I actually thought this is never going to happen.
Bang, bang, bang!
I'm going to pitch the whole thing, and they say, yeah, it's fine, okay, but we need all kinds of Americans playing Norwegians. But they say, no, sure, it's fine.
They went over and got literally the creme de la creme of these guys. Huge, well-respected actors.
The fact that they are all famous actors from Norway, I feel like we're delivering like their version of Ocean's 11.
We got Trond, who is literally the Brad Pitt of Norway. He's like a superstar in Norway.
Mr. Erik Olsen is a wise man. He knows the shit.
Like you look at Christopher, I mean, this guy's a Viking. I mean, you can see the DNA of like Vikings running through his veins.
This is Kathy. She loves me.
They're happy to be here, and they are a little boisterous.
Crazy. Oh my God, they're nuts.
I tried going out with them one night and had to sneak away at around 2 a.m. as they were going strong.
You're okay. But that guy, she's a bit, she's not sure about him.
We feel like with this casting, and it's a great cast, really anything can happen to anybody, and it does.
Anybody's monster fodder. Fantastic.
Kathy is not my friend anymore.
The people who make puppets, the people who make creatures. The Thing by John Carpenter is their Citizen Kane. So for people like Alec and Tom over at ADI, the effects house is building our monsters, our creature, our thing. This was an opportunity for them to sort of pay homage to a film that had been instrumental in their lives.
As he's crawling around on the floor, the stumps are just kind of flailing about.
I approached ADI very quickly, and they sort of shared the same sort of ideas I had. It's basically because, you know, you have humans exploding into monsters. When the thing takes over, the human should be sort of a passenger in his own little trip. You know, in Juliet, for example, you feel that she's still her brains are still active, but there's nothing she can do about it. She sort of witnesses her own destruction.
What we can provide is a very tactile, up-close, flesh and blood kind of illusion that makes it feel very intimate and very much about your body being invaded.
We have this fake arm that's in a sleeve, and it has a little cable release on the end, so on cue we pop it and it just pulls right out of a sleeve. And Jonas winds up with the centipede on his arm. And then it's got a little tube inside there for him to bite onto.
They're pretty gruesome and grotesque, but also kind of beautiful in a strange way. You would be completely in awe by it if you saw something like that in real life. It really would just stop you in your tracks.
We are getting ready to show our director for the very first time our animatronic puppet of Edvard. It's a kind of a complex scene where various limbs of Edward drop off, turn into their own creatures. He becomes a kind of spider-like creature in a sort of homage to the upside-down head in the first one. This is digital. Yeah. That's digital. Yeah. Digital here. This is just a stump leg. We don't have to have this post here either. And we can connect our tentacle to this.
Thinking about the thing, we had to do sort of reverse engineering as well, probably because it has been taken over so many creatures that it captures all this DNA inside of it. It can display whatever freakiness it wants to display. In Juliet, it's handy to have this big, huge maw. And when Edward turns, it's more like this sort of big spider thing because it has to walk to Adam. It's transformation on the fly.
First time I saw the Edward thing, which is when his face comes up and then mine gets stuck to it. The first time I saw that, I literally had to walk out of the room. It was just too much.
The fans of the original movie are very vocal about the fact that the practical effects were cutting edge at the time, and Rob Bottin did wonderful work. And so we wanted to try and walk the line between, you know, real physical effects and animatronics, but still use CG where we could to make it kind of the best movie we could make it.
For almost everything, we've had something there, something physical in the set. And then what we do with it in post is going to be staying true to the designs, to the plan, but then see where we're going to take it.
One of the great things about Image Engine is that they're very interested in showing how things change and evolve and mutate. So that what you couldn't do in 1982 is to show a leg sprout that's also enlarging and changing and bubbling and things happening under the surface of the skin.
We very much try to play to the strengths of CG and strengths of ADI to try and get the best hybrid possible.
It's not between practical and CG. The point is to make the movie look as good as it can look and as fantastic as it can look.
Can't just repeat what was done in 1982. We need to bring them up into the digital age. So the blending, I think, is where this movie is really going to impress the fans.
If we don't make a story like this every 20, 30 years, I think we as an audience will forget of this particular brand of suspense or horror, and that would be a grave injustice.
I think it's a fine balance because you want to really give the fans what they want, but at the same time you want to make your own film and sort of do something completely different than the original while paying homage to it at the same time. And I really hope that it pleases those fans because I'm one of them.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a nice get there. That was nice.